A major outage Tuesday at cloud computing giant Amazon Web Services. Several Amazon.com services that depend on AWS, including Prime Video, were down for thousands of users. An internal analysis pointed to traffic congestion across multiple network devices in the Northern Virginia region, according to a company insider. AWS later posted an update that read, quote, "Many services have already recovered. However, we are working towards full recovery across services." DownDetector.com showed more than 24,000 incidents of people reporting issues with Amazon. Trading app Robinhood, Walt Disney streaming service Disney Plus, and Netflix were among the platforms that experienced disruptions, according to DownDetector.com. Amazon's Ring security cameras, mobile banking app Chime, and robot vacuum cleaner iRobot, all of which use Amazon Web Services, also reported issues according to their social media pages. In June, websites including Reddit, Amazon, CNN, PayPal, Spotify, Al Jazeera Media Network, and the New York Times were hit by a widespread hour-long outage linked to U.S.-based content delivery network provider Fastly, a smaller rival of AWS.
There you go. Hello.
U.S. President Joe Biden held a much-anticipated 2-hour video call with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday, warning him that his country would face strong economic sanctions and other measures if Russia invades Ukraine.
Things we did not do in 2014, we are prepared to do now.
U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told reporters after the video call that potential economic sanctions would exceed the measures imposed on Russia after it annexed Crimea from Ukraine in 2014, but added that he did not believe an invasion was imminent.
We still do not believe that President Putin has made a decision. What President Biden did today was lay out very clearly the consequences if he chooses to move. And ultimately, we will see in the days ahead through actions, not through words, what course of action Russia chooses to take.
The virtual meeting, which Sullivan said was mainly about Ukraine, comes at the lowest point for U.S.-Russian relations since the end of the Cold War. Economic sanctions, which one U.S. official said could target Russia's biggest banks and Moscow's ability to convert rubles into dollars and other currencies, are designed to dissuade Putin from using tens of thousands of troops gathered near the Ukrainian border to attack its southern neighbor. The Kremlin, which said before Tuesday's video call that it did not expect any breakthroughs, has denied harboring any intention to attack Ukraine and has said its troop posture is defensive. Putin told Biden he wanted legally binding guarantees against what the Kremlin calls creeping NATO expansion and complained about NATO attempts to, quote, develop Ukrainian territory. The virtual meeting ended with an agreement to continue talks and meet in person at some point, and both sides directed their teams to follow up on issues related to Ukraine.
When director Steven Spielberg decided to take on the challenge of remaking the towering classic West Side Story, he had one imperative, that the characters of Latin descent be played by actual Latinx actors.
Well, the first thing to get right was the fact that no one playing a shark, girl or boy, is not of Latino, Latinx descent. That was the most important thing. We didn't want to have to put makeup on anyone's face to convince an audience that they were Puerto Rican.
It's an important departure from the original 1961 film, in which the only Latinx actor in the main cast was Rita Moreno, who won an Academy Award for her portrayal of Anita. Moreno, now 89, appears in Spielberg's remake in a newly created role. Stepping into the role of Anita for the new film is Afro-Latina actress Ariana DeBose, who applauds Spielberg for his authentic casting, with some scenes shot entirely in Spanish without subtitles.
He's using his privilege to say, well, if I can do it, can't everybody else, you know, to, really do due diligence and, pay respect to the culture.
I'm not Puerto Rican.
Is that okay?
Inspired by Romeo and Juliet, West Side Story tells of a forbidden romance between Tony, a white teenager, and Maria, a young Puerto Rican immigrant. Played by Natalie Wood in the original, Maria is now portrayed by newcomer Rachel Zegler, of Colombian descent, with Ansel Elgort, who starred in the film Baby Driver, playing Tony. The young couple's love story plays out against a rivalry between two street gangs, the Sharks, whose members are Puerto Rican, and the Jets, a white gang to which Tony once belonged. DuBose sees the remake as sending a timely message of love and tolerance amid increasing racial violence in America.
There has never been a better time for West Side Story to remind people that, we are better when we stand together.
West Side Story opens nationwide on December 10th.
Cuban entrepreneurs Henry and Yendri Garcia have long peddled homemade ice cream in their small town of Bauta outside Havana, but now they're dreaming beyond the single scoop. Communist-run Cuba in August lifted a ban on private companies in place since 1968, a move that has Cubans scrambling for business opportunities. Thanks to that reform, the Garcia brothers, aka the Ice Cream Guys, say they hope to move their small home-based operation cobbled together with patched-up old equipment to a larger facility and increase their workforce of 12 to 30 or more, says Henry Garcia.
My whole life I've dreamt of having an ice cream factory, a business. It was just a dream, an image in my head that I never imagined could actually happen. Now, thanks to the government and the party, this new law has sprung up, and it is no longer a dream. It's a reality. Now I have to put my back into it.
The government has already registered their Helados seed operation as a private enterprise, one of around 900 small and medium-sized businesses to have been incorporated since September. It's one of the biggest economic transformations since Fidel Castro's revolution. Cuba is banking on the creation of hundreds, even thousands of small businesses to help the economy rebound from the devastating impact of the health crisis, soaring inflation, and crippling U.S. sanctions. The new rules mean they can now operate with foreign currency, obtain credit, and sell ice cream to hotels, state-run shops, and even online. But there are still plenty of hoops to jump through. Regulations require companies to go through the state to engage in foreign trade, prohibit entrepreneurs from owning more than one company, and cap individual firms at 100 employees. Reuters spoke to one business owner who managed to purchase machinery from Europe needed to run a dried fruit company, but says he fears he's an exception to the rule. Imported goods were already scarce due to U.S. sanctions, but the health crisis cut deeply into convertible currency flows needed to purchase items from abroad.
President Biden was direct and straightforward with President Putin, as he always is. He reiterated America's support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. He told President Putin directly that if Russia further invades Ukraine, the United States and our European allies would respond with strong economic measures. We would provide additional defensive materiel to the Ukrainians above and beyond that which we are already providing. And we would fortify our NATO allies on the eastern flank with additional capabilities in response to such an escalation. He also told President Putin there's another option, de-escalation and diplomacy. We still do not believe that President Putin has made a decision. What President Biden did today was lay out very clearly the consequences if he chooses to move. He also laid out an alternative path that is fundamentally in keeping with the basic principles and propositions that have guided America in the Euro-Atlantic area for the past 70 years. And ultimately, we will see in the days ahead through actions, not through words, what course of action Russia chooses to take. Things we did not do in 2014, we are prepared to do now. Now, in terms of the specifics, we would prefer to communicate that directly to the Russians, to not negotiate in public, to not telegraph our punches, but we are laying out for the Russians in some detail the types of measures that we have in mind. We are also coordinating very closely with our European allies on that at a level of deep specificity. We have experts from the Treasury Department, the State Department, and the National Security Council in daily contact with the key capitals and with Brussels to work through that package of measures. But I think it is not profitable for us to lay out the specifics of it standing here at this podium today.